The IBRD currently is owned by 189 countries. Each country is a shareholder and they have their voting power based on how much they contribute. So currently, US is the highest shareholder. It has their, and they are the ones that are controlling it at the moment. They have the most shareholding. The institution is also governed by the Board of Governors and also headed by a president, which is also the president of the World Bank Group. Okay, so I also discussed on the global impact and perspective. I brought out perspective from both the developing countries and also developed countries, what critics had to say about IBRD. So some of the perspective in the positive aspect relates to the fact that they regard IBRD as a reliable source of funding, and IBRD supports growth and development in developing countries. Also makes them grants access to global expertise and technical advice, provides emergency support in terms of natural disasters and pandemics. But majorly, some of the criticism that critics have against IBRD involves 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 that IBRD promotes Western style economic reforms, majorly privatization and liberalization, which may not align with these countries with their social and economic realities. So another criticism relating to IBRD, the operation of IBRD, is that developed countries, especially the US, they have a large amounts of control over IBRD decision. Like I mentioned earlier, US holds the veto power over major decisions, and critics have argued that this undermines the democratic accountability, and it's often leads to policy bias in the operation of the institution. So in Nigeria as well, IBRD loans are not seen as grants, but they just increase Nigeria's external debt stock. So I also discussed on some of the reforms that IBRD is looking at. Some of the reforms includes a shift toward poverty reduction by targeting wealth, education, and inequality, helping countries to also build climate resilience infrastructure to avoid overburdening countries with loans and also prevent debt crisis. So in conclusion, IBRD has played a significant role in global development, especially in financing infrastructure. However, its earlier focus on structural adjustments and conditional lending it has had its negative impacts on the social and economic consequences on developing countries. So, despite the IBRD's reforms and improvements on trying to shape their operations, one of the major recommendations that I mentioned in my paper is that it must balance, global financial goals with human development and equity. Thank you.
So what precisely has been the impact in Nigeria?
Okay, so in Nigeria, majorly it has helped in in infrastructural development when we need to, yeah, for example, the case of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, we had to, seek for assistance from the IBRD. So, in that extent, we collect loan from them, but we have to repay them, we have to repay these loans in lesser interest or in smaller interest. So as opposed to, larger interest that some other banks recommend.
No problems. Let's have the next group. Any question from the class? Let's have the third group, please.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Akindele Oyorunke Opeyemi. I'm the only person in my group, and my topic is International Development Association and Socio-Political Intervention in Africa. So my paper is divided into 5 parts. Part 1, chapter 1 discusses about the establishment of the IDA, the International Development Association, under the Article of Agreement 1960 as a World Bank affiliate, as IDA is located within the World Bank Group. The World Bank Group comprises of 5 institutions, namely the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, International Development Association, International Finance Corporation, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, and lastly, International Center for Settlement of Disputes. So the chapter 1 analyzes the IDA's international legal personality, its privileges and the immunities. Chapter 2, I examine the IDA's development intervention in Africa, focusing on education, healthcare, infrastructure, climate resilience, and some post-conflict construction projects, under which I selected a few case studies, such as Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Rwanda. In Ethiopia, we have the Ethiopia Productive Safety Net Program. In Nigeria, we have the Nigeria Rural Access and Mobility Project. And in Rwanda, we have the Rwanda Electricity Access Rollout Programs. Chapter 3 discusses about the interaction between IDA and African regional institutions, which includes the AU, ECOWAS, African Development Bank. So the relation between ECOWAS and IDA revolves around trade facilitation, regional infrastructure, and also conflict prevention and peacekeeping. Chapter 4 discusses the challenges that are currently facing IDA intervention in Africa, which includes corruption, governance issues, political instability, transparency, and environmental and social safeguard compliance. While chapter 5 discusses about the recommendation for the IDA for the effectiveness of IDA intervention in Africa, which includes improving accountability and transparency in project implementation, ensuring local participation in project design, strengthening environmental and human rights safeguard, and also deepening collaboration with various African regional bodies. Thank you, sir.
Any question from the class, please? Questions, comments, reactions? Anyway, in the absence of none, any comment or question or concern from the class governor? Because nobody seems to be talking.
Sir, I just want to commend the presenter rather, for, although the presentation time was short and she tried to skim over most of her paper. I think she did very well. And
Are you scoring our paper already? Are you the one to score our paper?
no, sir, you said I should make a comment, sir. So I was just
comment generally, questions, comment
okay.
on the quest paper itself. What do you see? What do you learn from it? What are in education? What suggestions? What opinion, divergent, any? What concordant opinions do you have? In class, we always welcome comments or questions.
So far, I haven't read the paper fully. I've just read it halfway, sir. But from the little that I've been able to read, understanding how the IDA operates under international law as an independent legal entity, with treaty-based rights and obligations is there are similarities to international organizations, which seems to be like a recurring trend, sir, in most of the topics that um, we're deliberating on this semester, how most of other international, or should I say pseudo-international organizations operate with the similarities of formally recognized international institutions, how the international law plays around their modus operandi, the effect of the law on their operations, their limits with regarding to their operations, and how best one could recommend sort of like an improved way, especially when these pseudo international organizations, their influence, their interaction, their operation cuts across multiple regions globally. I just was able to understand that, sir. I don't know if that's okay, sir.
That's fine. That's
I
how
I have I have a little comment, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. Just like the first person that no, the second person that presented gave us that he presented on the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So what I want to say is a kind of trying to differentiate between IDA, that's International Development
IDA
Association, IDA, from
and
that of
IBRD.
yes, sir. So the focus of IBRD is they focus on middle income countries. Like the
No,
presenter said that they,
no, it's okay. Let's call the presenters to make the clarification. What's the
okay, sir.
difference between IDA and IBRD?
Okay, okay, sir. Okay.
It's an important thing because we may have to compare both in an exam situation, actually. Hello?
Yes, sir. To answer your question, sir, the IDA, that is the International Development Association, the main purpose of the IDA is to provide interest, like free loans, grants to the world's poorest countries, so as to support
Interest. I don't
poverty.
get it. Interest. I don't get it. Provide interest for what?
Interest-free loans.
Exactly.
Sorry, sir. To provide
So,
interest-free loans and grants
to
to
who?
the
To who?
to poor countries.
Good. How about IBRD?
IBRD provides loans for development. I'm not I'm not really conversant with it, sir.
Call the presenter of the book to come and
Okay,
justify.
thank you. So the IBRD actually provides loan. Sorry, sir. The IBRD provides loan to, like the other person has mentioned, to low income, middle income, developing countries for at a low interest. So it's not interest
So
free.
both are one is interest free or low interest, or both are low interest.
IBRD is low interest. It's not interest free, sir.
How about the IDA, Madam IDA?
Sir, IDA is interest-free, sir.
Are you sure there's no component of interest charged on the loans from them at all?
Sir, if I may say one thing, I think that none of these loans or supports that they provide to developing countries are entirely free. So
That's
while for
that's where I'm going. No prime
Yes,
must,
sir.
there are conditionalities attached to it.
Yes.
Membership,
Yes.
you must have been paying more membership dues and all those. That so many stuff attached to it. That's one thing you guys should go and dig into. Okay, by way of tutorial, compare and construct IBRD and IDA, and the class governor should know that as one of your tutorial questions against the exam. So you guys can go and dig further after that. Yeah, okay. Okay, so that takes us to the class governor should contact the next lecturer to take over from there. I guess I'm done with you guys. We'll see soon as the time permits. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.